Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. So this is I'm making a new video going over assignment two because there were some issues with the videos I made last week and also accessing my YouTube account. So this is to replace that and to try to resolve that situation. So the subsequent videos are just going to focus on part one, the introduction, part two, the literature review, part three, the research questions and the outcome. And then, as I did with the other video last week, I also have a written example of what it should look like and how it should sound like. Okay. All right. So this is just going for the introduction, part one, the introduction. So as I mentioned before, you're going to include the headings, all right? And you could either bold them or just leave them as normal text, all right? It doesn't necessarily matter which style you use. But then, as I also mentioned, that you're not supposed to include these points because these points are just for you to address and develop a cohesive and well written out introductory paragraph. Okay. And just to sort of as a reminder, the introduction is what allows the reader to understand what your topic is going to be, what is your point of approach, and what issues and significance this study will have, which I will talk about later within the much larger discussion about globalization and your particular topic. All right. And again, this is to help you prepare for graduate school. Okay. All right. So first, so point A. All right. And as I mentioned in class before, the first sentence is just a way to introduce the object of study or the subject matter that you're going to discuss. All right. And I believe I gave you the wording for the first sentence to clearly indicate what your topic is going to be. All right. So then you should write as the opening, the object of study for this research proposal will be globalization and then you fill in the blank. All right. So this is going to help you to establish a clearly stated object of study. Right. And not leave the reader guessing what your topic is actually about. All right. So you want to be direct and forthright. Okay. All right. So once you establish that opening sentence, then you're going to go to point D. Describe how you conceptualize or how you're conceptualizing or understanding your object of study. And this is basically asking you, how do you see your particular topic? All right. So, like for the example that I'm going to go over later on, is going to look at globalization. Sorry, I'm going to state the way that I wrote the object of study or the opening sentence. So, the object of study for this research proposal will be globalization and women. All right. So, you want to leave it as broad as that. All right. And then the second sentence or point B is going to help you narrow down what that topic is going to be. So then you're going to say, you're going to streamline or refine or sorry, narrow your focus. All right. So then what I wrote is something along the lines that the study will focus on issues of how globalization organizes violence towards women, right? Or something to that effect. Because what it does, it allows your reader to understand how you are thinking about and how you understand your own particular subject matter. Okay. And then once you address the how you understand your topic, and then you're going to describe the issue of your research that your research is going to address and why. Right, because it's important for you as the social scientist to identify and account for what your issue is going to be, or the focal point for your paper is going to be. Right. And then you're going to describe for point D. Sorry, for point D, you're going to explain the significance, or basically why is it important that this study should be done. Right. And you could say something like, well, the reason why this study is being conducted is because I want to address the issue of violence towards women, but I also want to be. able to show how important it is because of how it dehumanizes women. It impacts women's productive capacity. It impacts their earning capacity. And then that women tend to live in certain situations that is precarious to their safety. You're right. And it doesn't matter if women are living in first world nations or developing nations, the violence is still able to reach them despite what their social position is. All right, so that sort of would be the significance of the study. And then point E describes to your reader how you came about in selecting a particular topic. And if I remember what I wrote for the example, I just wrote, or I wrote a brief description about how when I was a kid, I actually had a friend that her dad would physically assault her mom, and then I saw how it impacted her. So then I grew, so I've had like a negative um, attitude towards men that engage in violence towards women or against their partners, right? So that's something that I wrote. But what it does, it allows the reader to understand not only what is your personal motivation, but also how you relate to the topic, right? And that's all that what that point does. And then once you write or address this final point, you're done with this section. So then you probably would have like maybe two, maybe three paragraphs at the most. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here and then I'm gonna follow up with the literature review.